When he was on the show recently, Lieutenant General Ricardo Sanchez told me that the U.S. military was fully aware of the negative image Abu Ghraib prison had as a symbol of Saddam Hussein's brutality, but there were just too many prisoners, and they had no choice. The plan was to refurbish the prison. Initially, I guess some of the prisoners were kept in tents, but that the amount of money that they expected never came through.
Well, there was no question that funding was short, but I think Ricardo Sanchez is right now one of the people who has a lot to answer for and who's managed not to be held accountable in any meaningful way, and so has written a book saying that somehow, although he was the overall commander of ground forces in Iraq, all crimes that were committed by people below him and above him were not his business.
Well, he had a lot on his plate, he says.
I'm sure he did have a lot on his plate. He also issued all of the rules of interrogation that authorized the exploitation of the Arab fear of dogs and nudity and stress positions and darkness and so forth. And his lawyers and his legal shop wanted what happened at Abu Ghraib to happen. So in terms of Abu Ghraib being refurbished, there was actually a debate. And in the summer of 2003, there were two overlapping currents. As you can recall, there was this notion at that time that there would be a civilian administration, the CPA and so forth, that would try to refurbish an Iraqi civilian criminal justice system for murderers and car thieves and pickpockets and what have you. And that the jail was originally refurbished with money for that end, for Iraqi administration. And then there was the military. And the military was conducting sweeps and rounding people up as it was confronting an escalating insurgency. They started using Abu Ghraib simultaneously with these tented camps, which they continued to keep most of the people there in tents. The people you see in the pictures who are indoors constitute a fraction of the people. There were about 90 people on the two tiers that we're talking about in the pictures, and there were like 9,000 in the tented camps at the peak of it. There was a strong number of people in the military who strongly urged against using Abu Ghraib, not because of its symbolism merely, but because it stood at the heart of the Sunni triangle, at the heart of the insurgency, was it a very dangerous place to get to and a very dangerous place to stay.
Because they were lobbing mortar shells at it.
The place was literally shooting fish in a barrel. This was the barrel, the walls of the prison. It's a 280-acre ground, and they were being shelled day in and day out. Meanwhile, the camp where prisoners had been kept during the war, during the invasion phase, was a place called down in Qasr, which is the port city right on the Kuwaiti border out in the middle of the desert. Nobody would attack it because nobody lived around there. It was in the sand, and the idea was you could build a prison camp here forever and keep people quite secure and controlled, and it would have been a much better location.
But they didn't do that. Why?
They preferred the logistics of being near Baghdad, and I think, frankly, there was a lot of inertia. What happened was they came in and they saw what was a prison designed according to American plans. The Abu Ghraib prison was built on American and British plans in the 60s, and they said, this is a real prison. We can use it. It's here.